Initiating System 1. System 1 loaded.
The GoreCast is brought to you by American Horrors, the greatest uncut horror channel in the world. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, all horror. As well as the Station of Decapitation Without Your Head.
America's longest running horror channel, www.withoutyourhead.com.
The following program is rated TV MAL. It contains strong language and is intended only for mature audiences. Viewer discretion advised.
What's up, fuck nuggets? It's Thursday. Welcome to the group chat here with the GoreCast boys. I
just got blown back in my chair like the dad from the Twisted Sister.
Don't ask me
video.
why. I was.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah,
nice,
I was doing a mantra before we came in of just nice, snappy, fun, lively intro. What's up, fuck nuggets? Yeah.
We're not gonna take
we're
it.
not gonna take it.
We're not gonna take it.
Oh, such a
I'm
good
a
music
little bit
video.
wired,
Sorry.
but also half asleep. Well, not half asleep. I could still possibly be quite. Yeah.
It'll be a dream, and Johnny doesn't know it.
We're gonna be lucky if I don't slip into a dose of narcolism through the show.
Narcissism? Was that what you said?
No, I'm always going to slip into narcissism. Okay. It's what keeps me going.
He's Lex Luger from 1993.
Sorry, Katie.
What?
The narcissist Lex Luger.
Yeah,
pretty sure I said narcolepsy.
The technical issues in relation, just in case anybody's wondering, the technical issues in relation to what happened to Tuesday's show was technically my computer decided to update, even though I technically didn't ask it to. Yeah, you two are laughing. Giz is not, because the last time a big update came in, it ruined my life.
I think I remember that.
None of my editing software works anymore.
Oh,
yay!
It's just like, Giz, we're not doing anything. Why? My computer fucking sucks. I understand completely. This is why I look at a trail of destroyed technology in front of me.
This all adds up.
I don't. Yeah. I didn't smash the computer. I have a very, very different technical approach to handling things than Giz does.
The computer smashed him.
That's it. No, I like caress it and I talk to it slowly and gently and just be like, "Oh, you little computer, come here. You know you want to do the editing."
Good approach.
Yes.
We're
and
every
computer in George Foreman shivered. Anyway,
and I just try to avoid all the updates so I don't have to caress or throw anything.
Anyway, coming up in this week's show, Shizo, we are talking about the new Netflix series / comic book, because I'm sure, well, we'll talk about the comic book, Giz will talk about the comic book, and three of us will politely sit there and just be like, yeah, and then we'll...
It's okay. It's okay. I've done a minimum amount of research on the comic book. I haven't read it yet.
Oh.
We're all good in the hood. I said that I would wait because we know what happens when I read shit and then review the adaptations of it afterwards.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Usually.
It's not the way they wrote it. I don't like it when they change things.
Sometimes I do. Sometimes acceptable, but a lot of the times it's not.
Yep.
It's very similar to my original versus remake rants.
Yes. Speaking of original versus remake, we are going to be bringing you all of the news from Tuesday today, as well as the news from Thursday today. So there's a whole shitload of news.
Two
newses, 7 news bits. It's possibly a GoreCast record.
Good news, everybody.
We're all professional, like.
Right. Speaking of which,
bar when we started the show initially, and all we did was kind of cover news until it got to that 3.5 months during the year where there's no horror news. Myself and Giz were like, well, this isn't going to work as a consistent thread of we're going to have to put some reviews up in this bitch.
So we started concocting our own news. No, that's not right. We started doing other stuff instead. But
Look,
for right
real
now,
quick there.
however, there is news
There is.
bits, and something that has me very, very interested. Paul W.S. Anderson, the same person that brought us all them Resident Evil movies, is now planning on doing a TV series of Mimic, which is one really good film by Guillermo del Toro, one alright film that was a sequel, and one utter pile of shite that for some
Yeah,
reason
it
Lance
really went
Henriksen
off
was
the
in.
rails in number 3.
It's fucking Lance Henriksen, dude. That's all you need.
You'd
Just
think
Lance
that. Have you
Henriksen.
seen the third Mimic
No,
movie?
you also need a story that isn't just a parrot. Oh,
No?
they
No.
basically just took an old Hitchcock
Mimic.
story and stuck giant bugs into it.
Yeah.
and it was terrible. It was terrible.
Yeah.
Don't
No,
comment.
I didn't.
I
No, no.
I would.
I didn't say it didn't suck. I'm just saying, like, hey,
I would customarily be like Lance Hendrickson adds a level of awesomeness to everything, but until
That's what I.
until you've seen the third Mimic movie, don't make a very bold statement like that.
I'm just. It's still Lance Henriksen, dude.
All
Like,
he's saying is just don't throw that bumper sticker on your car. That's all he's saying.
Well,
I'm
look,
just
for
saying,
the
like,
time-
still get your 5 points of Lance Henriksen. All right, the movie blew. I'm not lying, but
It's very bad.
I'm still giving the points for Lance Henriksen.
Well,
Like,
for
they
the time
realized
being,
we're fucked, so let's go get him.
But for the time being,
we don't need to actually think about it because we can erase it from our minds because for the pile of smeg that it was, since this is a whole new starting base on things. Apparently, Paul W.S. Anderson is on board to executive produce and direct the pilot of a Mimic TV series, which will adapt the original short story written by Donald A. Wolfheim, which Guillermo del Toro turned into that really cool movie back in '97.
yes. There's bugs in the subway. They're to
No.
kill the big rats. Oh no, now there's big bugs. No, that's not Mimic.
Yes, genetically altered insects are released accidentally. They're originally concocted to take care of the rat
That's-
situation, you're right? But unfortunately, things get a little bit out of hand, and they mutate and they evolve, and it all goes sideways.
And then they get human
Now,
faces.
kind
That's
of that
part
whole
of it,
Mother
yeah.
Nature rule. If you release it into the world, it will take on its own thing.
Yes, like fucking Steve or Jeff Goldblum said in Jurassic Park, nature finds a way.
Right.
Clever
Exactly.
girl.
Now, this is going to be slightly different from the film we've seen because it's being given a TV series rather than a film. It means that they're going to be able to delve into certain plots and subplots that probably weren't even touched on in the original movie. So Mimic is set to explore on its surface the idea of insects taking over, said, who's Gray? Jim Danger Gray, who is
That's a great name. That's a powerful name.
Yeah,
Power-
actually,
That's a
Jim Danger
That's a powerful
Gray.
name. The only way you could make that any better is if I don't know, your last name was like, I'm just throwing it out there, like Deadly or something like that.
Deadly.
Yeah, you know, if you had a double D, double
apparently
barrels,
it's-
you know, kind of like a some sort of Danger Deadly or Deadly Danger name or something like that.
Well, apparently, Mr. Danger Gray is on board to write and executive produce, as well as serving as showrunner. And he stated that body horror, the anxiety of a bug living inside of us, the death of truth, the denial of science, and the rise of personal entitlement are at the heart of our shows. It examines how society is eaten alive by an invasion that is laying bare its greatest insecurities and failures.
Ooh, very hoity-toity.
Yeah,
I like it.
okay, so
Like, that's a lot of smoke, so I'm kind of hoping they'll be able to pull off what
Dude,
they're...
in fairness, as
what they're
good as the first
advertising.
movie is, there isn't like a subtle. Do you know the way a lot of movies have a little kind of running social commentary in them? Like, it's one of the beautiful things about horror movies.
Right.
There was none of that, really. Well, there was in relation to the way science corporations are bad, kind of running commentary.
Yeah.
But that's more of a plot device than just a running commentary. But, yeah. If you can scram some social...
I haven't
No,
read
I
the short
mean,
story,
like,
so we'll just have to see how the
if you can
story
scram
evolves. in
some
this.
social commentary
Right,
into this,
like,
I'm
you
okay
know-
with it. But I'm also, as we saw with movie number 1, quite okay without it. Big bugs in the subway. That's all I
Right,
need.
but like, I'm not going to sit there and go, hey, you know, the first movie was awesome. Like, you can still fuck up a TV show.
Oh, yes.
So,
And if you look at the third movie, you can fuck that up too. So,
Oh,
just to ring that home. Anyway,
like I said, the second one was acceptable. But the third
next
one,
next news bit. Or is there more?
There is, yes. No. That's it. So Universal Pictures are hoping
Will you
to turn
say it
every day.
will you say it like Sean Connery, like you nearly did there again, please? I liked it. Universal. You said it like Universal. There was like a Universal Pictures. That was very bad. I drove him to drink.
It's water. The poachine is still in the bottle under the table.
All right, okay. That's fine. That's fine. Just making sure. Seconds. Reconnection successful. There we go, and we're back. Sorry about that. The ritualistic Thursday internet spike. You know how that goes.
Fuck yeah.
Bear Bunny, welcome to the chat.
Anyway,
sorry. Yeah.
Hello.
Continue. You keep talking, and I'll occasionally say hello to people,
as I was,
like we normally do.
Okay, so Universal Pictures is looking to turn Simon Rich's short story "Everyday Parenting Tips" into a feature film starring Ryan Reynolds and Paul King, with Paul King directing. The short story was published back in May, and it takes place during the Great Monster Uprising. This is how you look after kids, in my opinion. Rich explains that the setting of the short story, unfortunately, kids common in the aftermath of the Great Monster Uprising that occurred earlier this year. Ever since the creatures descended from the Dark Place, their presence on Earth has become an unavoidable aspect of our daily lives. If your child is afraid of an actual real-life monster such as Gorgog the Annihilator or Cathagra the Eater of Souls, explain to her that, although those monsters are obviously real, the likelihood of them actually attacking her is only moderate.
Could you imagine your kid coming in with such a specific Gorgog the Annihilator is under my bed? Sorry, what?
That's great. That's great, because specifics means you can look up exactly how to kill them. That's why you always ask a kid to try and describe what monster they think is scaring them.
Big axe, massive sword, take the head off, and then burn it with fire.
Yes. Nothing lives without a head, and if it does, set its ass on fire.
And
if
the char-grilled, broiled monster afterwards tries to move after that, chop all of these bits apart, set them on fire, and then bury them in many, many different places.
Sometimes it's not enough, however. Sometimes specific rules apply, because magic...
By the time he gets his shit back together, I'll be long dead. I've summoned a demon.
Right.
Your descendants
or at least fucking move far, far away.
Getting back to what is at hand.
What's this got to do with Ryan Reynolds?
Actually, it's pretty cool. They want him to star in it as a dad looking after his kids during the goddamn monster
Perfect.
uprising.
Okay, fine. Sorry, I got the plot synopsis and I was like...
Did you miss the part where I said at the first that it was starring Ryan Reynolds?
I was just... Yeah, okay.
Okay, that makes...
Because I was just listening to the description while looking at this picture of Ryan Reynolds lovingly looking at me out the window of the spaceship from life. And I was like, where does spaceship Ryan Reynolds come into this?
The very first thing that I said was Universal Pictures is looking to turn Simon Rich's short story Everyday Parenting Tips into a feature film starring Ryan Reynolds and being directed by Paul King.
He was so taken back by your Sean Connery impression.
Look, it's long established.
That was my mouth getting dry.
It's long established that if I listened to every word that you say, we wouldn't have a show.
And in my defense, I was reading the chat, trying to keep up with it. Like
I heard you, Guess. I heard you.
Anyway,
but I was really curious why we were looking at Ryan Reynolds, so I'm kind of glad he said something.
Just before we move on to the next news bit, just going to say a quick...
I wasn't going to...
What, you not finished yet?
No, you keep fucking interrupting me. Doesn't matter, move on. At this stage, it doesn't... Just fine, it's cool.
No, like, it sounds cool. I want to hear more. I'm totally stoked on this.
I was just going to start describing some of the other monsters that are being described here, but we can move on.
Cool. Okay. So I'll just do a quick hello to Katie McNeil, Cinema Reaper, Bear Bunny. Pam's in the chat there somewhere as well, I think. Yeah, that's all of the...
Hey, Katie, hope you get feeling better.
That's all of that done. Okay. What's up next on the news bits, Giz?
Ridley Scott's Cutting Loose.
Ooh.
Is that the name of it? That'd be great.
So... No, it's not. I just thought that would be a quippy little cool
headline.
Segue.
Well, you, sir, were totally correct.
So, since everyone bitched and whinged at the fact that Ridley Scott allowed his much beloved franchise to be pissed all over with some android fucktard, creating a doll that might as well have screamed, "Hello, my baby, hello, my doll, and hello, my ragtag gal," and ran away from a bowl of soup.
Oh, Alien Covenant.
It
Sorry.
seems
Okay, I lost track of what was going on there for a second.
I will get us right.
This time I was totally paying attention, dude. That's all him this time.
Oh no, I was paying
So,
attention.
anyway,
I was just like, "Where's this going?" And then it was like, "Oh, it's Alien Covenant." It took a second of recognition.
So since that happened, it seems that HBO Max have allowed him to kind of let loose with a brand new series called Raised by Wolves, which looks set to explore all the stuff that he wanted to do in the notion of artificial intelligence, alien life, genetic manipulation, all kinds of madcap
Can
stuff.
I ask, do
Now,
you think it's actually he's being let loose, or do you think it's a load of rich people with money were like, Ridley, if we just give you a TV show where you can take all the crazy shit out on the TV show and just please leave the Alien franchise alone and stop, please, just please. Look, there's a whole, we'll pay you, put all the crazy shit down in the TV show. You go fucking mental. I literally don't care what you do. Just please leave the Alien franchise alone. Stop it. Stop it now.
Well, I mean, Disney own it now, so it's never going to be good again.
Yeah, that's fucking true.
Although I am looking forward to the Disney crossover. So,
Do you know what I'm looking forward to? An Alien vs. Predator cartoon. Because we nearly had one. We nearly had one in the 90s, and there's talk of a Predator cartoon now. We were this close to having an Alien vs. Predator cartoon in the 90s. You know that?
I did not fucking know this.
Do you know the really cool NACO toys that got made? The aliens, the marines. Those were all, much like a lot of the cartoons in the 80s, going to be turned into a show. The mini comics that you got were to serve as kind of like a lead-in for the cartoon, and there was even a few cells of animation done.
I had a bunch of those. I pretty much had all of those figures back in the early 90s.
Yeah, I would have them on my shelf, except now my nephew has scattered them throughout 2 houses.
Children.
Oh, dude, I would still be on board for a fucking cartoon for that shit. Holy hell.
Apparently, since Disney have the rights to Predator, that's one of the things that's being spoken of, that they might be doing a Predator cartoon, which I am ambivalent for because I love cartoons, but at the same time, they'll never let it be 18s, which it should be because it's got damn Predator taking heads. Anyway, back to the story at hand. Ridley Scott is being unleashed in an HBO TV series called Raised by Wolves. Now, apparently in this show, Mother, funnily enough, the same computer name he used for Alien, was programmed to protect everyone on Earth. Programmed to protect everyone after Earth has been destroyed. When the big bad wolf shows up, she is the one you must trust. So this is originally set up at TNT. The show has since been picked up by HBO Max, and it's already released the first trailer. Much like the Alien franchise, Ridley Scott brought to the world. Raised by Wolves features both androids and creatures, and I'm pretty sure I'm already... Oh, no, this is just someone's blurb for it. Sorry.
Insert someone else's opinions here.
I thought this was a synopsis. No, screw that for a tub of spin. I was reading from an article. I didn't realize that it was their opinion as opposed to an actual statement from them. But the show looks set to explore androids, alien creatures, the notion of artificial intelligence, which would then obviously be an interesting social study or an interesting social commentary if looked at from the point of view of how governments are now trying to basically program people. I imagine machine life would see humans as being little biological programmable machines to be molded. So the sci-fi drama is about androids raising a human colony in raising human children in an outer space colony. It's being written by Aaron Guzikowski, and focuses on 2 androids tasked with raising human children on a mysterious virgin planet. As the colony of humans divides over religious differences, that can't be good. The androids learn controlling the beliefs of humans is a treacherous, difficult job. Oh, gods. Raised by Wolves comes from Ridley Scott's Scott Free Productions, Turner Studios, and Madhouse Entertainment.
I wish Alien Covenant was a Scott Free production.
Well, the first 2 episodes are apparently directed by Scott himself. And I'm just looking to see when it is out. Oh, it's streaming from HBO Max starting September 3rd. And for anyone interested, there is a trailer up on the YouTubes and stuff, I guess.
I will say, because like HBO Max is making a run for it. There's this new joint called Peacock. So like everybody's trying really fucking hard to.
I have
shit
it.
out.
It's
okay.
because 5 or 10 years later they finally figured out that streaming is actually the way to go. Sorry, Buzz, I didn't mean to step on you.
I didn't know you stepped on me.
Ouch.
I thought you were going to say something until I said.
I just said I have it. It's okay. The Peacock.
He's got the peacocks.
The peacock.
Everyone, news
Hey.
just in. Buzz has
Like-
the peacocks. Just to let you
Well,
know.
look, I mean, Netflix has been knocking around for how long, and it's taken all these big corporations this long to get their fucking online game together, just because they realize people aren't watching TV because it's full of ads.
You got so many shows trying to do their own thing. Like CBS made a specific Star Trek for them. Peacock, I think their big pitch they released you remember the old TV show Psych?
Yes.
They
On
released
USA
their
Network.
second movie. Yeah, they released their
That
second
was-
movie.
Oh, the second movie.
Yeah.
Peacock also has reruns of The King of Queens, which is a great TV show.
And I mean, like Buzz or Giz, we even saw it when Warner Brothers tried to do theirs with the Young Justice season 3, trying to be that hook for them.
Well, until DC Universe started up its own kick.
Yeah, no, I just mean like that's everybody's trying to find that hook to make sure that they can grab all of the people they can.
Well, it's not that. It's because it's because like TV execs or whatever the fuck have finally opened their eyes and kind of gone, technology's moved on in the last 50 years since we were up here smoking weed and doing whatever we do on the moon. We should probably like adapt.
Well, and it's funny because now we're going from everybody channels and having to pay for shit we don't use, but now we're having to pay for so many streamers to get all different shit we want. DC here, HBO Max there, shit like that.
Giz is sitting there like,
I'm gonna
pay
add-
for streaming.
Right?
I'm going to end every statement with That's why I end every
Okay.
statement.
Well,
Anyway,
are we finished on Ridley Scott's Scott-free productions of the thing with the dude?
We are,
And
we
what's your final
yeah.
contribution of the news bits? The bitsels.
Well, it was just spotting this. Someone. Okay, where is it? What the?
I lost
There.
and I lost Giz, but I got Johnny back.
I lost everyone.
Okay, I still Giz,
Here's the
but
picture.
Giz has picture here.
there we go.
Okay, he's back.
I can see me. I can see me just fine. I couldn't see any of you for a minute.
Wow. All right.
Buzz is broken.
Well, if he's broken now, he's really going to be smashed up in a second because apparently artist Mike Chiche has decided to put his talents to the test by creating a fictitious intro for a fictitious 80s
What
cartoon.
if the Voorhees family and all those crazy kids from Camp Crystal Lake were to be done in a, I don't know, Hanna-Barbera, Scooby-Doo kind of stylaroo?
Yeah, I think it's mainly like, the adventures of Jason, his decapitated mother, and his
The mother I
doggy
picked
friend.
up as being like, she's Scrappy-Doo. Jason Dog is like Muttley.
Maybe. I did like it when they were on the spaceship because all that went through my head was Jason in space.
Double sleeping bag kill. Still goddamn amazing. I love it.
Great.
You can't beat a bit of
Yeah.
double sleeping bag
So
kills.
I don't know if we're able to show it or not. I just thought it'd be worth mentioning that it's really, really fun and people should go and look at it. Yeah.
If we'd mentioned this before we were live, I possibly
I did hours
did
ago.
you. Right, I
Yes.
didn't get that bit of it. I just typed in, send me the pictures there.
The exact message that okay, because like the exact thing on when I sent it was if you could rip the video for this so that we could show it, cool. And I was, and then
Yeah.
clearly you didn't, and we can't. Doesn't matter.
Okay.
It's fine. It's fine.
So,
Fine. It's in the main news bits. Buzz, what you got?
ice
No,
cream.
you're doing news now.
I got some news for y'all because I had news.
Tell us what the news is,
That's
Buzz.
my news.
I went very panto.
Well, I had news that was for Tuesday, but Tuesday didn't happen. Well, the day happened, but the episode
Tuesdays go
So, good song.
with the way.
So we got thrice new movies coming out on September 1st. First up is Widow's Point, and that movie is about a writer who spends a weekend locked in a haunted lighthouse to help promote his next book, where he finds a targeted by supernatural forces. And it's starring, I gotta read my notes.
You look so educated.
Craig,
I like the little glasses.
Yeah. Craig Schiffer from Nightbreed and Hellraiser Inferno.
Fuck yeah.
And that film, it's VOD, not VD, VOD, and DVD on
So
September
it's kind
1st.
of like Room 1408, but in a lighthouse.
See. That's my...
You haven't seen Room 1408, have you?
Yes, I have. I just said C because I was agreeing with you in Spanish.
See.
So, but since I had these news bits Tuesday, I don't really remember anything else besides what I just read. So,
okay, what's up next?
I don't know if you guys have thoughts. Blood Quantum.
Oh no, that's Jason.
It was, I believe, a Shudder film that I guess is getting ready to be released on DVD and VOD on September 1st as well. The dead are coming back to life on a native reserve, except for its indigenous inhabitants. Ooh, I said that right. Who are immune to the plague. Amid the chaos, a tribal sheriff must protect his son's pregnant girlfriend, apocalyptic refugees, and reserve riffraff from the world of walking corpses.
Dude, there's a word that doesn't get used enough anymore. Riffraff.
I know, and I made a point to write it down when I was like looking at the story. I'm like, I'm putting riffraff down.
Get out of here, you goddamn
spotted-
riffraff.
I spotted the same article, and I was going to suggest the film for review because the DVD thing is September 1st, but I think it got released online or something in VOD format or something last year maybe. But no, it did look good, and I liked how they were on about it's another film whereby, like with most good horrors, they've slid in a load of social commentary. In this case, I think referencing historical events and kind of putting kind of a twist on stuff that actually happened up in Canada.
There's a full-blown
back in the day.
xenomorph genetic conversation going on in the chat right now, and it's actually quite fascinating.
Yes, there is. Oh my god.
I feel I need to weigh in on
dude.
it, but I can't because I'm in the middle of a show and I can't bring the thing up. So.
They're trying to pick colors for shit like Predator and Xenomorph.
But not
stuff
just
like
as
that.
in not just as in
Colours?
So far we've
preferred
got
color
yellow.
for them, as in like legit genetic.
like lanterns. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. The lantern colors. So far, Xenomorph is yellow.
Yeah. Yeah, Xeno.
So
Well, they went up against
See?
Green Lantern. That was a whole thing.
so it's that whole like, what color would Predator be? What color would Xenomorph be? And it's like, I'm fucking loving this conversation. Not that I'm not paying attention
listening to you
'cause
guys
you're
as well.
awesome, but like,
It's just, I was like,
right. So
You know what? The Predator would be orange.
Bill just said that.
okay, that's what Bill just fucking said. Yeah.
Give me all the trophies. I want them all. Mine. Down,
That's
down,
exactly what. Yeah.
It is terrifying when me and Bill are on the same wavelength, and it happens so fucking often.
Anyway,
Truly terrifying. Sorry, Buzz. We
Voss is
interrupted
up
your
next.
news bits.
That's fine. Baba Yaga.
which looks awesome, just judging by the
yeah.
image. Very cool.
Ooh.
Or yeah. And this film is about a young family that hires a nanny to look after their children. But after gaining trust of the family, what? Oh, whenever you, it's like, we're.
No, I was referring to the story
so
of what you were recanting to the crowd.
Yes, it is very.
Yes,
it is a very story. After gaining the trust of the family, the nanny begins exhibiting some unnatural behavior. When the parents don't believe his claims, son Edgar is left to deal with the problem on his own.
Edgar.
Until one day, the nanny and his sister disappeared, and his parents are left in a trance-like state. Turn the page. Edgar believes his family.
I feel like it's a story at bedtime now.
Edgar believes his family.
Turn.
Everybody, tuck in and get your warm milk. Edgar believes his family have come across the ancient demon Baba Yaga. With the help of his friends, I scribbled really bad. He must stop Baba Yaga and save his sister before his parents forget him too.
Cool.
End of story. I don't know where to put my pen, so I just threw it over that way.
So I'm assuming that that's getting released on DVD.
September 1st.
The same date as
That's what I said.
Thrice movies.
Thrice
one day.
movies.
Get your goddamn credit card out, people.
Y'all.
There's some movies to be buying on September 1st.
Cha-ching! I don't know why I did that.
Well, you don't do that when you're ordering online. There's not a lot of swiping. It's more.
No. So that's my contributions to news.
Cool.
Das ist das News. Das ist das News.
There was
Okay, so now
double thrice news
bits.
Now we've gone from the whole Predator Xenomorph thing to
It's
Freddy
like
and
he's
Jason.
wearing a goddamn Egger suit.
figure
Egger
Freddy
suit.
That's a no-brainer.
We figure Freddy kills for yellow, or Freddy's yellow, and
Jason's
it's a
red.
toss-up between,
Jason's red.
It was a toss-up between red or black.
Oh.
If Jason
Right?
was a predator, sorry, I've lost track of this conversation now.
What's going on?
No.
If
If
as a lantern.
As a lantern, one of the
Is
lantern
it
corps.
Predators is Lantern Corps? Oh my god.
No, no. They were saying if in the DC universe,
Yes,
there are multiple rings like the Green
I
Lantern.
know.
Two of us are
I
on
just
point.
missed that bit of info.
Yeah. Wait, you know it all. Jesus, I forgot. You downloaded like hours of DC
Yes.
stuff into your brain one weekend.
Like
I forgot.
all of it. All of it. You can amass a serious amount of. Do you know the guys that do like the on YouTube that like read the comic, but they go through the images and they do all the voices and stuff? We were doing a DC episode for American Horrors, and kids just came down, and I was like, I might get confused about some things because I've stuck what evidently is 30 years worth of DC storybooks into my brain in the last week and a half. Like kids was like, you know more about me than this certain stories. I was like, yes, I don't know how that happened. I'm not used to being in these unfamiliar waters.
That was hilarious.
I actually broke my brain.
Yeah, no,
it
Jason
wasn't
would
even
definitely.
funny. It's too much.
Jason would definitely be red because he would have already been brought back from the dead. If he wasn't brought back from the dead, then a Black Lantern did it. Then that would mean that he was already knocking around beforehand. So no, he would have to be red.
Oh, fuck, I didn't think about that.
Stupid.
All the Black Lanterns were folks that had died and brought back by the power of the Black Lantern.
No, that's right. I totally fucking forgot somebody'd have to bring him back.
But yeah, no, Jason's definitely yellow. Or sorry, no, Freddy's yellow.
Yes,
yellow.
Freddy's definitely yellow.
Jason's red.
Himself and Sinestro get on so well.
Cinema said Jason could be death.
There'll be a bit of a issue at the start, but I feel once they get on the same page, those two lads will cause misery with people in.
Yeah,
Do you know what I
actually, yeah. I mean, this Nestor Corps had some horrible
horrible
things.
Oh,
Horrible.
yeah.
That fucking nanny. Jesus.
Anyway, so on to the actual topic of tonight, which was Giz suggested.
Yes.
Warrior Nun, which I was initially with the name a little bit apprehensive, and then it was described to me as very much like Buffy to Buffy.
Spiritual successor. Yeah.
I feel that as a big Buffy fan, I'm going to have to say shenanigans on that comment. If by spiritual successor you mean that the girl is 16, she's got superpowers, I don't want superpowers because it's ruining my life. Yes, it's a spiritual successor.
Correction.
But other than that, there is no succession of spirits except for the actual succession of spirits that's within the actual show storyline. Okay.
Well, I mean, like,
Buzz- I
Succession,
feel
is
Buzz
she
wants to
did
make a
gain,
point
pointing.
here.
she did gain
She's-
memories.
She's 19,
Okay.
not 16.
Cool. I thought, okay. Well, that's another
Well,
thing
well,
off the notch of the Buffy
And I
belt.
don't remember, like,
So she's just a chick who's got
Okay,
superpowers and she doesn't
Succession-
want them because they're ruining her life. Yep, spiritual successor to Buff.
okay, but, like,
To Buff.
spiritual, like, she did start kind of, like, getting visions of the past and stuff like that. Buffy never really did that.
Look, to be perfectly honest, what I said to you was exactly how I read it being presented to me. Having watched the show,
I'm not giving out. I'm not giving
I
out
get
about
why
saying
they did
you're about the description. I'm just saying. I know you're just recanting what it was described as.
now look, it's also worth mentioning, right, that after watching the show and then kind of looking back, I was aware that it was based on a comic. It wasn't until I did my research after watching the show that I realized I recognized the comic, not as one that I'd read, but as one that I'd seen advertised in like Diamond Direct and other catalogs back in the day when they would republish old works. Never actually read it myself. Originally, the series was Warrior Nun, created and written by Ben Dunn. Now,
Buff fast.
This-
Totally right.
adaptation.
Nothing. I'm talking to the
What?
chat. Continue.
Oh, okay. This adaptation was originally conceived of as a feature film, and then it was picked up by Netflix, and they basically wanted to turn it into a TV show. So that was taken up by Simon Barry, who took on the responsibility and adapted a lot of the stuff. Now, once again, this is a show that I could turn around and start pointing out all the things that are different about it from the comic, but the fact is, I haven't read the comic. I've done a bit of research, and I am aware that there's a lot of differences. Primarily, this show starts off with the death of the current and previous Warrior Nun, Sister Shannon. It happens very, very straight away in the show.
Instantaneously,
In the comic,
actually.
she is the warrior. In the comic,
Yeah.
she is the Warrior Nun.
Okay, so all right, so they're
actually
essentially
all
picking
about
up
her.
after the comic. You're right there, bro.
Right.
Jesus Christ!
I thought
Expel
so.
the evil, Carter.
I thought.
I'm trying.
I was thinking that as well until I started doing a little bit more research and realized no, they just changed the name so that they can basically get away with making all these other changes as well. I think.
If I was to
but it's okay. It's
if I was to give a rating on this, it'd be all right. Yeah.
Okay. Right. Well, like, my problem with it is, like, obviously there's, because I've not read the comic. I didn't realize still that there was a comic to it until I was looking up a couple things I was looking up the posters, and that's how I tripped over the comic. For the name Warrior Nun, there's not a whole lot of fucking fighting in it. You know, you get a lot of filler, you get kind of backstory, stuff like that.
once again, I feel that.
Huh?
I was going to say that I'd say that's primarily because they shifted early on from the notion of a
Yeah, it
movie
was supposed to be a
to a
movie
TV
initially,
series.
wasn't it? And then Netflix said, "Let's do TV series." Yeah,
Yeah.
That would be actually one of
Well,
my major issues with the show was the pacing of the show does feel like, okay, we've got a 2-hour movie, we now need to make it a 10-hour TV show.
Right, but in that same aspect, they're like now kind of like Iron Man 1 was kind of like a whole bunch of playthrough. Iron Man 2 just kind of kicked off. it's that kind of same thing. We've now got our history. We've now got our presence. Season 2 could like just be hell on wheels, especially with the way the show ends. Like, we've got all of our players in position. We know who's playing for what and why. Season 2 could be like fucking awesome.
I would agree with you, especially due to the. I'm going to say cliffhanger for lack of a better description, but I'm not getting into it. I'm just.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I agree with you that kind of cliffhanger ending, for lack of a better description, that they had does seem like it can't but start fast in season 2. I don't.
Right. And like I said, the only reason, because you remember we were supposed to do this like last Thursday, and I had like purged all my shit on Sunday, so I was like, hey, has anybody else watched it? No. Okay. And you were like, hey, what'd you think about it? I'm like, I didn't like the cliffhanger. I didn't know what else to call it without like trying to spoil it for anybody else. But I mean, like at the end of it, like I said, you know, the way it ends, fingers crossed, because you can fuck up anything. It really has nowhere else to go but like just hard and fast.
We can get into the ending a bit more when we get to the actual ending of the movie thing. But yeah, no, I don't think season 2 can start slow.
Right. Like if you do, you've totally ruined the fucking show.
Yeah.
Before we go any, we might as well tell people. Yeah, okay. So anyway, as I said, it's a very loose adaptation of Warrior Nun Ariella as done by Ben Dunn. Like I said, the very first thing to do is change the main character because it allows them to make all these other changes in the story and to delve into other things and other machinations, bringing in their own characters and moving the story in whatever pace they see fit. Because to be fair, this is a comic that was an independent comic in the mid-90s, had a limited run, 3 or 4 limited stories with 3 or 4 issues each. But to be fair, from what I can see, they've managed to fit an awful lot of the characters, or at least adaptations of a lot of the characters, into this story, which in itself is about a 19-year-old Ava who basically wakes up dead in a morgue. That is actually a legitimate thing that happens in this film. After the
that also starts
after
that's quite early in the movie. Like she just wakes up in the morgue, having not been able to walk before,
after
which
the
was
previous
the other issue.
After the previous Warrior Nun dies in action, surrounded by her friends and very much
several
a
demons,
horde of demons, they decide the only thing they can do is to stick the halo, which gives her power, into this corpse, which has just been dumped by this mean hatchet-faced bitch of a nun inside a
slightly
morgue.
unaware that it'll
Ava
bring her back to life. It was more, well, it was very much as a storage device.
Alive and able to.
That got shoved into her initially.
Yes. Yeah, pretty much. So she gets like brought back to life and is able to walk and move and is kind of shocked by the whole thing, and the fact that apparently she can phase through buildings because she gets a slap
and
of a
she
van
can
at one
punch
point.
Very large men clean across the bar, or will push very large men clean across the bar.
Yes. She is.
Well,
yeah,
and then like the fucking card dings her, and she winds up in like a fucking a store of some kind, sports store.
Yeah, she gets a slap of a van and straight into the storage of a shop or something. But unfortunately, as this is going on, what's it called? The Order of the Sacred Cross? Cruciform Sword, there we go. Order of the Cruciform Sword, which is basically a militant nuns, is the best way of putting it.
A sect of
They're trained
killer
to fight
ninja
demons.
nuns that fight demons spawned from hell.
Yeah, led by the Warrior Nun, who can see the demons come in 2 forms. A wraith-like demon, which only the Warrior Nun can see, and then a physical form demon, which fucking everyone can see. But it's usually
the
a
wraith
little bit
demon's
rarer
kind of
to come
like
by.
you can see the smoky demon above a human meat puppet, essentially, and the meat puppet's the representative on planet Earth, except that the Warrior Nun's able to see this pitched mist coming off them.
And the other demon that everybody else can see only can come through for a short period of time before it like goes back to
because it's
hell
very
or
noticeable.
wherever it came from.
I'd imagine being one of the reasons.
Or it's a massive power drain to exist on our plane of reality.
It's That's probably more reason.
As I said, I don't think he really cares about being recognized. He just
fuck shit up.
everybody
Yeah,
in his
I
path.
do have to kind of give him props though, because their special effects was good. Like that shit, you know.
It's the kind of budget it's the kind of stuff that you'd expect from a Netflix TV show at this stage, with the amount of money that they can sink into these things. That at the very least they'll be able to give us good God's damned effects, and they do. It's really, like, visually, this show is fun, which is, I think, part of the reason a lot of people got into it.
And I mean, like, even the fight scenes were good. The few that were there, like, it's still, like, that was even entertaining.
Yeah. As Ava is coming to terms with the fact that she is, like, alive and walking around,
because as I mentioned, walking around was not something she was doing post-life. Pre-death, sorry, not post-life.
No, it wasn't, because she's been trapped in this. Yeah, it turns out she's been trapped in an orphanage since she was 7 years old, involved in a car crash. Unable to move, barely able to move a hand. I think she was able to, after years of trying, give her bitch of a nun that was looking after her the finger.
She's a bit of a C, that lady.
Well. Oh yeah, complete and utter, total,
Catholic,
absolute, unredeemable. Anyway, so while Ava's coming to terms with all this, the Order of the Cruciform Sword is coming under review, I guess, from Cardinal Francisco Duretti, who has decided that since the halo's gone missing and it's not sword that he's able to control, he kind of needs to
step in a little bit more. I'm going to move a couple of my hand-picked girls in just to flesh out the numbers a little bit, seeing as we don't have.
You can't help it. I really like the characters, because you can't help but see, like, him just doing shady on top.
Yes, well,
of shady
I feel due to the fact that all we've.
And here he is, like,
due to the fact that all we've seen for the last, like, 10 years is how much shady upon shady shit the church has done, that this is a very easily digestible storyline. Do you mean? Because kind of like, oh, they're doing shady shit. Makes total sense.
No, like it's you know, but it also points out that whole, like, you know, when you have power, will it corrupt or will you use it? And it really comes off as him trying to corrupt it, kind of thing.
It's worth noting that in the Ben Dunn comics, he portrays the Catholic Church as being 100% a force for good. Like, to the best of my knowledge, there isn't any of this. For the most part, there isn't any of this shady backstabbing stuff that we see presented.
So it's
straight
just
away in the
we
show.
are the church,
now, there is
and this
eventually
is our special division of ass-kicking demon slayers. Okay.
Essentially, yes. Now, there is apparently a priest that goes rogue at some point in the series, but anyway, like I said, in this, the Machiavellian nature of Duretti is seen from the outset. As soon as he has an excuse to intervene, he is doing such things as talking to Sister Lilith, who everyone believes is going to be next in line to have the halo, since apparently she's got a lineage of halo bearers in her family, which kind of sets her on a bit of a tear to really try and track down Ava, and
some would say homicidal halo retrieval
make
mission,
sure they have a proper warrior,
for lack of a better description.
Yeah, shit.
A bit of a
it's
one,
like, I don't care what you come back with as long as it's the fucking halo. Like,
I think more right specifically was, I don't care of how much of her you come back with as long as you have the halo.
As long as you have the halo.
And he was definitely talking to the right person, because that's all she fucking wanted.
Yeah. Well, born, bred, expectations.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Yep.
You are under the fucking gun, you know, in her lifestyle. But in that same sense, it made that conversation so much fucking easier when he's like, I kind of want to do some shady shit. Oh, it's not shady in my eyes. Okay.
I really like the dynamic between her and Sister.
Mary.
What's her name now? Yeah, Sister Mary.
Mary.
Shotgun.
Oh
yeah.
That was one of my favorite things throughout the first few episodes.
So essentially, anyway, Ava is wandering around. She gets found by some nuns, and she gets brought back to the church to get some training. But
before that, she runs into some interesting squatters and
yes,
con
I was going to get to that in the next section. But yeah, she runs into these kind of con artists is a bit of an overstatement.
I was gonna say, I think they weren't trying to con anybody.
Yeah, it was more. It was more like party squatters and party crashers.
Advantage takers.
Advantage takers. Because it was that whole, well, I mean, like, nobody's using the house, why can't we?
Yeah.
But they weren't, like, really stealing from you, because they even admitted, we bring in a
They clean the place up afterwards.
People go off on their summer holidays, essentially. They come in, they rob their house for the 3 months that they're gone off traveling or whatever, but the house is spick span clean.
Use their house.
Yeah, but yes, use their house, because they don't use any of their food. They don't do anything. They go off and they sort all their own shit. It's literally they're just using you for a free bed and board for lodging. Perfect. That's a better word. Yeah.
And if you've got a pool, bonus for them. Like, they really are. If you're going to get fucking grifted, let them.
Yeah, you're not going to be hitting the pocket. Put it this way. Yeah.
Right.
There was some TV show where there was a guy that was doing that for years in it, and the whole point was that he was a witness to a crime, and people were trying to track him down. It was like he didn't exist because he kept going from home to home that were people on vacation. He'd take pictures, and he'd put the place exactly back in order, and people wouldn't have a fucking clue that he was ever there.
See, they even did an episode of that on the old TV show Castle. The dude he took pictures to make sure that
I was thinking of.
Bale got back to the same place and that the apple
Castle
was there.
With Nathan
That's
Fillion?
what I was thinking of.
Yeah. He was a book writer, and he hooks up with a actual cop, and then he uses her for inspiration. Right. But one of the episodes was they find a dead guy, and they come to find out this guy he's a news carrier. And he knows who's going out of town, who's not. So he just keeps crashing at all of these different people's places. But he makes sure to take, matter of fact, he even fixes one lady's faucet that's been leaking for months. So he goes out of his way. He's like these kind of people.
Anyway, Ava's run into these, we'll call them friendly grifters, for lack of a better description of them. There's a slight incident where...
The bad guy.
What?
I was just saying they're not the bad guy by any means. They just kind of want to have some fun. They don't want to fucking hurt anybody.
Some incidents happen while they're they're after kind of, we'll say, party crashing at this big science company, where unfortunately the science that they be studying is very much in relation to the general things that revolve around that big glowing circle that young Ava's found embedded in her spine, although she's unaware of it. To a certain degree, at the time, yes, because she doesn't even notice the scar until the love interest kind of points it out.
I think she happens to catch her reflection in a mirror or something.
After he mentions it.
Yeah.
She was in the shower trying to start the shower, and he's like,
and
cool
then she's
scar.
like, "Oh, I was in a car crash," and he was like, "Perfectly circular scar." She's like, "Perfectly circular scar."
Yeah.
My scar isn't circular.
Yes, I think that's why she was instantly kind of like perfectly circular scar, because car crashes don't customarily revolve in perfectly circular. Moving on.
Yeah.
Anyway, shit goes down at the party.
They're at the party.
Nuns show up. Ava goes away with the nuns because her friends leave her kind of stranded.
Unfortunately, the party also brings her to the attention of Gillian Salvius, who's the woman in charge of the
very much
company,
interested in the glowing circle in her spine.
Digging up artifacts that, more interested in the fact that she seemed to have a reaction with
all of the holy shit that I've been gathering up to melt down.
Trying to dig up all around the world.
Glowing, really, really glowing. And my son started glowing, which was unusual. I found that slightly odd that my son started glowing when you were walking by as well. So.
I gotta say that's kind of fucked up that we're finding shit that's like 1,800 years old. What do you want to do with it? Let's melt that bitch down and help build a ring.
Science.
I'm like, right?
No, I think she got onto that because your man.
Oh yeah.
He used to be a researcher in the Vatican, and now he's sorry. What did you say his name was?
Kristen.
Yes. Kristen used to be a researcher in the Vatican, in the libraries and stuff like that. And basically, he just lost his faith, I guess is the best way of putting it, and turned to science instead, and wound up working for Salvius, and
It's also
certain revelations that he discovered while working in the Vatican in regards to this particular metal and the properties it was supposed to have.
and it's also kind of good to note that, you know, the reason he lost his faith is because he was under the roof and he saw what he felt was some of that shady shit going on in-house. You know, here we are, we're trying to look out for everybody, but he's watching so many things kind of be put in the basement and not talked about.
The way he phrased it was, it wasn't what I did see, it's what I didn't see.
Right.
It's kind of what made him. That's what he said when he was talking to
that was all,
Ava.
That was also in reference to his mother passing as well.
And not seeing a miracle.
His mother died,
right.
And he was a priest,
so
and he was praying his little ass off for a miracle to help save the mother, and no miracle came, and Mummy passed. And it kind of shatters your reality and perception of when you have everything.
So I kind of feel with him it was a personal and professional.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. The point is that thanks to the knowledge he imbued upon Dr. Salvius, she is now aware that this metal exists and that it is supposedly has extra-dimensional properties, which she is hoping to tap into because it is her goal to create a portal to a realm where death no longer exists. Why she's doing this without armed guards is beyond me, because no matter how good your intentions are, lady, you are opening a rift in reality. If something good happens, cool, but you need to be prepared for all the bad.
Have you never seen Sliders? You can land in some shady shit.
Thank you. Right.
You can land in hell.
She knows what's on the other side.
She does a test for investors to basically show what it is that the revelation, her scientific revelation of what she's going to do. She's looking to open up a portal. She's got basically a small ring, and she creates a small portal, and she sticks her freaking hand in.
Oh, dude!
I thought that arm was not coming back. To be honest, yeah.
It's like digitless, dude. It was gonna be a fucking nub when she pulled it back through.
Or come back and on fire or something. It's just like, ha!
Right.
How? Oh. It's a minor miracle that she was able to extract her hand and all her digits were there and she wasn't like screaming and her soul wasn't rent.
Like, so I was on my seat on that one. I'm like, she's about to. No?
Shortest scientific career ever? No, wait, what the frack?
Anyway, after the slight issues at the medical lab, Ava ends up going back to the church with the crazy killer ninja sect of nuns where they try to train her up to be the one. And then Ava gets a bit of a bad day with the Mother Superior nun, who can be a bit of a bitch when she's not being a bitch. Mother? What? Mother?
No. I was just thinking, it's hilarious, the name Mother Superior.
Right.
So she buggers off toot sweet again, goes back to meet up with her friends. She realizes that the crazy nuns are going looking for her. The love interest has become a proper love interest and decides, sure, we can just travel across the world. That's how I started. My mum died and I just showed up in Morocco one day and just went, going to crash in this gaff. And then, we just fucking continued on from there. And I've just been picking up people along the way. But god damn it, I like the cut of your jib, Ava, and I'm going to pick you and I'm going to go travel. He didn't use those exact words. I'm synopsizing.
I would say spoiler alert.
Yeah, God, you goddamn romantic Pablo. Or was it Pablo?
JC?
Where did I get Pablo from?
Yeah, JC.
I killed Buzz.
You will not find a Pablo in this TV show.
Oh, you won't find a Pablo in this TV show? I bet you will. It's pretty much all around Spain.
Yeah,
it's filmed in Spain. I'm pretty sure you'll find a Pablo.
Right. Well, I'm sorry. Nobody that we will know for sure. How about that?
Actually, it's the Ava herself, played by Alba Baptista. This was actually her English debut. She's a Portuguese actress.
Yeah, I just saw that. I was again looking some shit up. I was kind of impressed with her, dude, because she did something in like 2019, but everything else is kind of coming up 2020. Either released or yet to be released kind of deal.
So anyway, Pablo.
Oh yes, they're going to go travel the world and stay in random houses together and stay on the run from the nuns. Robbie Coltrane, so good. But anyway, unfortunately, Mary, who's a badass leather jacket wearing demon bitch slapping nun, who's chasing her down, and Sister Lilith, who's also a demon smacking bitch slapping nun, but is looking to just physically remove the halo from young Ava's spine. So shenanigans go down on a boat, and Ava ends up in a fight with Mary, and Lilith ends up getting taken away in a flurry of thing that I won't get into in case you decide to watch the series, because it's a bit of a drama moment, and you're like, well, I didn't see that coming. I won't lie to you. So there's a whole moment in the desert where the two girls get to know each other, blah blah blah. But anyway, long story short, evil, and more evil comes, and then she realizes she can run through big thick walls. There's a bit of a training montage, all that kind of thing. It's not a Rocky training montage, but there's a I can't get through the wall.
On fire! Gotta get through this wall.
They concoct a plan that they hope will save a lot of lives, but unfortunately things don't exactly go their way.
They're working for a shady church, and in the shady church there's shady people.
It's also very important to point out, though, because while we're looking at this individual that wants no part of the Halo or the Order, and the Order's like, cool, then we want the Halo. The Father Vincent is constantly pointing out, okay, so really there's never been a record of bringing somebody back from the dead. So he's very adamant about being on her side. Maybe this is God's way.
Yeah. They have, and that's the reason why he ends up being on the outs with Cardinal Duretti, who we've seen from the very beginning trying to exert more and more power. And I liked I'm not going to call it a subplot, but you had the two main plots of Ava learning to come to terms with what she is now, and Duretti basically trying to get to the top of...
Yeah, well, he's
Camp
already
Christ.
At the top of Camp Christ. He's just trying to have full control of Camp Christ.
No, he's near. He's
Right.
pretty near the top.
He's looking to get Popely.
Cardinal.
Is what you're trying to say.
Yeah, he's a cardinal, so he's one step
And if
away.
we've learned anything from movies, people, Musketeers, those kind of things, cardinals are fucking evil bastards.
Richelieu.
The birds too. Welcome.
Yeah. Yes. Oh right. Yes. Sorry. Yes. I get you now. Sorry.
We're not going to go into too many details of the story, I guess, because that would just be
all
detracting
of the stuff
from
we
anyone that
talked
hasn't
about
seen
is
it.
okay to
It's
talk
10
about
episodes.
because for about 7 episodes, it's a lot of talking, and then around the last 3 episodes, there's a whole load of action.
Yes.
Well, as
But you know
Carl said
what?
earlier, it's world
Yes,
setting.
true, but
They come up.
true.
It's a hard lean in. When you see something like Warrior Nun, you're expecting I don't know. I was expecting more. And so this was kind of a very slow lead in with cool moments.
I'll tell you what.
Think about
I'll
what
tell you what
happened
before
to,
we. I'll
Sister
tell you before
Lil-
we start getting into opinions and everything like that on the show. We're going to do the trailer, and then we're all going to come back and we're going to do our kind of good points and bad points, or whatever you want to call it, of the show. So here's the trailer for Warrior Nun, and we'll be back in a couple.
I'm really getting back into reading again.
Here we go, and we're back.
This one
So
is
that was the trailer
great.
for Warrior Nun. It's only out couple of weeks, not crazy long.
July.
Yeah, it was
July
near the end
2nd.
of July.
Yeah,
July
beginning of July, so about a little over, not even barely over a month.
So it's why we're not getting super in depth into the plot.
It's like a baby release. It's a baby.
Let's be fair, right? These episodes, there's none of them longer than 45 minutes, I don't think. So
They're
it's
what
not
you
like
and I.
you're sitting down.
They're what you and I
bored out
usually
of
refer to as the
bridges, right?
TV hour.
Yes,
Right.
exactly.
Dude,
So
I killed our Tuesday show and Thursday show on a Sunday. Like I got up a little early and was able to kill everything out in
I
one
had
day.
point is
terrible
that-
trouble getting into this, like as a binge watch. I got like 3 episodes in, and I was like, I think I'm just going to wait till tomorrow for the next 3.
That's actually the point that I was going to make.
Oh, okay.
That's actually the point that I was going to make. It's one of these shows that if you're into it the way, okay, I'm me, so I'm happy to sit down and binge watch most things because it's just the way my brain works. Not everyone is that way. Not everyone is that way. So some people, this is one of those shows that because it's 45 minutes, you can sit down and you can watch an episode of this or maybe 2 episodes of this, go off, do something else, come back to it later in the day, or maybe come back to it tomorrow or a couple of days later, watch a couple more episodes. It's not a long investment, and it's catchy.
I would say
quickly.
the reason it's so easy to put up and down is, like as I said earlier, there was, like, in my opinion, there's some serious pacing issues in it. Like, as in, the opening scene starts off so action packed, and then it's literally the rest of that episode, and pretty much bar Beatrice when they go into the medical lab initially. It's 6 or 7 episodes before all the action proper keeps rolling. And I can see how they tried to flesh stuff up, because it's like, I feel there was a lot of Ava going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Do you know what I mean? Where, I don't know, it just felt like it was on repeat a little bit.
Okay, you're right, it was. But in the same sense, like, you know how some characters just kind of like attached to you and you're like really intrigued with them, or you really kind of get behind that. When she came from not being able to walk for, what was that, umpteen years
Would have been 12 years anyway.
She wakes up
12.
How much?
12.
Okay, 12. So we have a character that wakes up after 12 years and she can stand on her feet. She's running. All those spots where she's on the beach, just like walking, running, and just randomly going. From a wheelchair point of view, like, I was totally into those kind of moments.
The majority of those moments
You know,
were
like,
in the first
that was
episode
like,
or two,
shit.
when she's kind of still not that she figures out what's going on, but when she's kind of trying to get her head around.
No, like, it's not just that moment. Like, you also have to take into account, like she said, she's been in that orphanage those years. So when she runs into JC and he's like, "Oh, hey, do you want a Coke? What's a Coke?" You know, like, everything
I don't think
is
she's quite
so
that bad, but yeah.
No, I'm sorry. Like, I'm not trying to make it worse.
She's not down with what the hip kids be down with.
Of her life, she's not.
Yeah,
Right.
There's some gaps in her pop culture.
Well, she didn't have a whole lot of
and
TV, and she
technical
didn't have a whole lot
knowledge,
of
shall we
sody pops.
You know, and so for me, like, a lot of that kind of, like, I kind of related to that in that aspect. You know, because, you know, she did, you know, there's so many, like, parties that she went to and stuff like that that were just not something she was used to fucking doing.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't have it like, let me get this straight. Like, I don't actually have an issue with the storyline layout. I just feel that, say she meets up with JC and all of them. There's that little section where she goes off, she's doing the partying, she's kind of experiencing life and stuff. She goes off to the church after the whole med lab issue. Doesn't go well with, or doesn't get on with Mother Superior and other Lilith and other ones like that. Ends up leaving again. And then, bar the revelation that herself and JC are going to go travel Europe together or whatever, it's pretty much wash, rinse, repeat from what happened initially, and it just was 2.5, 3 episodes of that wash, rinse, repeat bit, and then.
But like in that same sense, though. But like in that same sense, she's like trying to figure out who she is because she's been bedbound.
Oh, I get all of that. I just felt it.
Now all of a sudden,
I just felt it for the style of show that they're going for. I just felt that it slowed the pacing down in the middle a lot more than it could have done with being slowed down for me. Like when I got onto episode 7, I was actually like
I'm not gonna
fuck, I
lie.
gotta see what's happening next. Do you know what I mean? Episode 8, fuck, I gotta see what's happening next.
No, it definitely kind of slows shit down because you also think about it. We jump from her perspective of life, then we also jump back to the church's perspective. So we have Mary and Lilith, you know, back and forth, going to look for her, stuff like that. But I kind of felt like that also added to it because here she is, she willingly walks into the science aspect of it. Oh, you're just trying to use me. Then when she walks into the religion aspect of it, oh, you're just trying to use me. Because the whole nun thing is like, without you, we can't see where demons are. Like, you have to kind of go like 11 o'clock and we...
Yeah, until someone is actually venomously walking at me and I'm able to kind of... I can't see the demon behind them, but I can pretty much assume that guy is looking to fuck me up.
I'm pretty sure.
You know? There's that, like, that's what I'm saying about that's what I'm saying about there's a lot of this rinse repeat stuff. Like, say, like, she goes to the church, oh, you're just trying to use me. She fucks off. She goes to the lab for help. You're just trying to use me. And it's just, she keeps bringing people in to help her and telling them to go fuck off again for her to yet again need to go to them for help. And it happened. It happened with the church twice and with the medical center twice.
It's like when she was I can't remember what specific sister was talking to her, but she was kind of like, when it comes to fight or flight, you're flight. Like, that you're not
Mary
every time.
No. Beatrice.
Yeah, Beatrice.
But in offense, like, what part of life has she had to build fight? You know, so
no, hang on, that's not true. That girl spent months. The mother superior, or sorry, not the head sister or whatever you call your one from the orphanage. Like, when, like, she has flight. The girl's got fight in her. Do you know what I mean? Like, she literally spent months teaching herself. There was no one teaching her to try and move. She spent months teaching herself to
but not when adrenaline's coursing through her.
No, true.
Right.
Adrenaline is a wonderful drug, but it completely throws off those responses. When you're calm and collected, you can fight all day long. When adrenaline is running through you, you have to make sure that what you're doing is what you want to do and not what the adrenaline is having you do, which is the fight or flight.
And because, like Johnny pointed out, there's that, or I think Johnny and Buzz both pointed out, there we have that little montage. Not all those montages go in her favor. You know, we have a setup where she's like fight or flight, and she only phases halfway through. You know, again, I think those are moments that reflect on her heavily because she's not had the same, even Lilith, that is that whole under the gun, your multiple generations of being the Halo holder. Ava, you know, like, there's being prepared for the life that you're about to accept, and then there's the trying to figure out who the fuck you are. And even though it's slow, I thought it did a really good piece of doing both.
I personally, I don't have an issue with the story trajectory or the character trajectories of anybody in this. I just feel you could have literally dropped 2 episodes and still told all of those trajectories way more efficiently.
Oh yeah, no. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I definitely feel slightly jilted after first season. I feel like we watched her party a little too much, but we watched her train a little too much. Like, I feel like they could have halved both sections and gotten like another episode out of it. But I didn't feel like they totally pissed away.
You can definitely tell that it was a movie made into a series. They did add stuff that to kind of fill what a 10 episode order that, like Johnny said, probably could have gone out with a couple episodes shorter. But nonetheless, I liked it. I had the exact opposite of Johnny, where I thought I was going to do what you were going to do, where it was going to be, I'll watch a couple episodes and then a couple episodes the next day and the next day. I went through and watched the whole thing because I was interested.
Well, no, sorry. It's not,
regardless
like, it's not
of
like
the
I wasn't
pacing of
interested in the story, just to clarify. Like, the actual story being told is good, and it's good enough that even though I found it slow, I still kept coming back because you know me, like, I'll have no problem not watching the fucking shit for a show and been like, sorry, I just could not get through that. Like, and it
like-
wasn't anything like that. It's just, it did drag ass in the middle for me a little bit.
And like I told you guys before we started, last night I rewatched it again because I had my kids over when I was trying to watch it the first time, and I had a lot of distractions. So I'm like, all right, I want to sit down and put my 100% focus. I'm like, I'll watch 5 episodes tonight, and then the next morning I'll watch the other 5. I ended up watching the whole thing again straight through. And the next thing I know, I'm like, oh, I got to be episode 4 or 5. End of episode 7, going into episode 8. I was like, holy shit.
I think once again that has to go down to the fact that they are just so short. Even if you do feel like the story is progressing slowly, there's also the other aspect of it's going slowly, but I know that it's not going to be like a long slow. You know, that's the weird thing is like the episodes are so like in a way they're not paced right because of such different time frames. One episode's 45, 49 minutes, and the next episode's 39. So it's like this one episode, you're like, I'm not saying 45 minutes is long, but it's longer than the previous episode. And you're like, well, holy shit, this one's done already. And the pacing was a little bit kind of had an issue. But like I said, like you guys said, overall it's
a really, really cool story. I found Mary a really cool character and fascinating character. Ava, you feel for Ava. You feel for Ava from the offset, and you genuinely, as I said, I may have felt like it did drag ass in the middle of it, but you also want to see what happens to this girl. She's very endearing in a lot of her behaviors, and there's a certain level, as you said, because she's in the orphanage and stuff. Like, there's a certain level of innocence she has to literally everything in life, because she hasn't got to experience anything in life from the age of 7 onwards, essentially. Do you know what I mean? All of that's very endearing.
But funny enough, like it's as funny as it is, though. Like as much as I cared and worried about Ava, Shotgun Mary, like I wanted to see what the fuck she was about to do. And like this last episode, she's like, "All right, I'll go get the mail," and then you may not see her for an episode or 2. And I was like, "Fuck it, maybe she's in the next episode." Nope. Okay, one more. Oh, she is. And like, I was kind of curious to see what all was going to happen with Shotgun Mary.
Mary's good. There's a really cool, as I was saying when we were kind of doing the story synopsis, there's a bit where herself and JC are looking to head off on a boat and go travel, and Lilith and Mary going hunting her down. And there's this very interesting kind of verbal exchange as the two of them essentially just follow each other through the fucking desert for a fucking day or two. Until they land in this town where the sisters had helped what turns out to have been a mass infestation of demon possessions in the town, including the priest and things like that. But I found that those 2 episodes, even though they were slow-paced episodes, very, very, very intriguing. Like the kind of the little bit of history you were getting from this town and the kind of the dark side of it, minus tentacle monsters and stuff. There was, I was going to say it's slightly Lovecraftian, but it's not, because the townspeople were quite friendly as well. But you know what I mean? It just this kind of horrible thing that happened to this tiny little secular town that's off in the middle of nowhere that not a lot of people know about. I just found that whole 2 episodes very fascinating.
It's the point in the story where Ava, after being conflicted for so much time, is presented with a scenario that shows her exactly what it is she is capable of doing herself, not just through her own actions, but through seeing the actions of the previous Warrior Nun and the Order of the Cruciform Sword, and more importantly, seeing how these people are afterwards, that they are all accepting of what happened. They're all very, very happy to have had the nuns' assistance. And it's probably the first time that Ava is presented with people, as opposed to the church, who are very much in favor of her having the halo and, the good that she can possibly do with it.
I also think it's the first time she was given an option. She's sitting in this town, and for the first time, hey, if you did this, here's what your possibilities are. Like,
there was also
you could save a fucking town. Like, nobody.
There was also the fact that Mary had kind of had given up on kind of trying to strong armor into the role, and she literally said, she was like, "Look, stay with me for the 2 days. All of the kind of the history of the town starts to unfold and stuff like that, and then she actually leaves it in Ava's ballpark, as in she's like, I got a lift over there. I wish you the best of luck with all your thing. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. Sends her on her way, but it's...
Which, to me, shows an even more depth of Mary, because in the previous episodes, you just kind of see her as like, hey, could you fucking blow this door open? Could you? Like, she's an aggressive person. But in that episode, there's more to her. You know, she's not just a fucking blow the door open. She's thinking the long game. You know, and as she gets in the car, she coming? Yeah, she knows. I brought her here for a fucking reason. You know, I'm not going to be as aggressive as everybody else has been, because she kind of realizes. And I think that's kind of what I liked about Mary's character. She's not like the other sisters. They've devoted themselves to a cause, to a situation. And as we find out in the show, Mary is kind of, yes, I'm devoted, but I've made exceptions to the rule, and everybody's okay with it. You know?
I think in the comic, Shotgun Mary is, I suppose the best description would be a bit of a lone wolf.
In the TV show,
From
she's
what
also a
little I
bit
saw,
of a
it's
lone
like-
wolf.
Yeah.
Definitely.
What I was going to say was, from what little I saw in the comic, it seems you have the Order over here doing their good works. Meanwhile, Mary, who is still part of an Order, is off over here kicking the crap out of things to the degree that, like, apparently she's a little bit famous for doing it.
And we even, like, if that's true in the comic, then we even kind of see that in the TV show with a nod, because Father Vincent's like, look, dude, I let you fucking do you, but when our paths cross, I expect.
But she even expresses that,
you know,
and she even
like,
expresses that herself when she's explaining it to Ava, like what her situation with the church is, where she was like, I know what my worth is, and I said it to them, that I was like, I won't have anyone telling me how I'm going to do my job. Do you know what I mean? They just let me do me.
I think that's what makes Mary's character so fucking awesome, is because she knows, like, yeah, we are fighting.
But she doesn't just stay in. Mary doesn't just stay in the church like all of the other sisters. Like Mary's like the Batman of the group, where it's literally she's off saving people and doing her own thing on her own, and then when they need her, they send up the Mary signal in the sky, and Mary shows back up for.
Cross shotguns.
Just
with a crucifix in the middle of it.
Fuck right. Like, she's very adamant. She's very adamant about, like, the Order needs this. Okay, I'll go make that run. But if she sees something more, you may not see Mary for like 2-3 fucking days.
Yeah.
You know? And when she finally walks in on, like, Thursday, Father Vincent's like, so, do you really want to know? Yeah. Okay. And, like, she's transparent of what she does. But she does take care of that darker side of what needs to be done to kind of keep everything flowing the way it does.
How is it? Well, no, I suppose Fancy probably had a different way of putting it. Designated asshole.
Yeah,
the person will do what needs to get done. That's how Fancy Dan put it in Killjoys.
Right. Because if you think about it, everybody else is like waiting for orders, waiting to be told where to go, what to do, what to think, and not necessarily in the way that they're mindless sheep. They just don't want to go against the order. Yeah. And Mary's very adamant about, like, okay, I'm not trying to go against the order, but I'm also trying to keep an eye out for the greater good. And in the TV show, it feels like there's something bigger brewing than what we need to focus on. So it's her job to go off, figure that out, and then come back and go, okay, while we're worried about this, we also need to be worried about
Carter, your mic's going in and out really badly there, dude.
I think it has to do with, I'm hearing what I think is his mic issue.
It's only when Carter's talking, though,
that he used to have. But I think the noise is kind of making his microphone staticky, because that's what happens when.
But it's only Carter.
Because I can hear
Carter's mic, though. When Giz talks, it's normal.
I know. Okay.
But it's the same sound that I hear, that, like it's rubbing up against his chest. Though.
Yeah, because I keep hearing that noise, and while
Okay,
every
will
time
you
I
give
hear
your
that,
mic a
he's
quick
talking,
fiddle
that's
as well,
weird.
Giz, just to be safe? Okay.
Okay,
No,
now I
so
don't hear.
fuck it. We're near the end of the episode anyway. Fuck it.
Good stuff. Good series. Check it out. That's my opinion on it.
Yeah, I look, as I said, I thought there was some slight pacing issues in the middle of it, but it's a really good story. It's just a bit slow. If you are going in thinking it's going to be an action-packed fucking fight fest because of the name Warrior Nun, you're going to be disappointed until about episode 6 or 7, give or take.
Seriously, just
Yeah, no, it's definitely Carter's mic because his audio's gone now. Yeah, do you have any final thoughts there, Buzz?
No, like I said, I really enjoyed it. It's I want to say it's like I said, it's not an easy. I don't know. I thought it was an easy watch. It does have, like you said, it does have pacing issues, but I was able to breeze through it pretty quickly in one sitting. I just like a lot of the dynamic of the story. I know with your guys' beliefs on the subject matter, but I am a religious person, so I was interested on, their take on that, the religious aspect of the story.
same here.
So I'm not one of those preachy religious people who obviously like believe what I say, da 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 da. But I mean,
honestly, at this stage, I've seen so many different versions and read so many different things about, the papal state secretly hiding stuff and abuses of power and all the rest of it, that it's just another TV show that uses that as a plotting. That in the comic that Ben Dunn created and wrote and all the rest of it, he has the Catholic Church being a force for good. And one of the inspirations for his comic was actually a group of nuns who moved into Harlem, I think, in the late 70s or early 80s. One of whom was already proficient in judo and I think took up taekwondo in the neighborhood, and all the nuns ended up learning it. Now, they were doing it purely for their own benefit, not because they were looking for trouble or anything like that, but they had heard it was a rough neighborhood, thought it would be a good idea to learn self-defense. Never actually ever had to use it, ever, apparently. But Ben Dunn saw a news report done on them, and this inspired them. They had moved in to open up a soup kitchen or something like that. So this, culminating with a bunch of other things, meant that when he went to write his comic, like I said, for the most part, the Catholic Church is a force for good. Now, he concentrates on, obviously, he viewed it as being, Rome, it's its own city-state. The Pope is pretty much a world leader when you look at him with the amount of political and spiritual influence that he can explore.
Oh, yeah.
Extol. So it's only natural to infer that if there were physical manifestations of demons, that they would need a physical military arm to deal with this. So from there, he created the Warrior Nun, the Order of the Cruciform Sword. So like I said, while we do have these machinations in the TV series, in the original works, I don't think we would have had it like that. It would have been very much a black and white kind of scenario for the most part. A couple of exceptions maybe, but definitely wouldn't have been, you wouldn't have had the whole Loretti plot in there. At least I don't think you would have.
All right.
And I gotta say, I'm kind of with Buzz. I was watching that from a religious point of view just to see what they used and what they did.
Okay, that's cool. All right, so I'd say that's us going to wrap up the show. We're hitting the hour 40 mark. So from Buzz and Carter are going to be up Tuesday, where they're going to be doing the Suspiria episode that was supposed to happen on last Tuesday gone. People are not impressed from what I understand. So make sure to tune in for that, because Buzz will probably fuck something off camera or kick a table or fucking something like that. I don't know. Myself and Giz are going to be up Sunday, where we're probably going to be doing blood quantum. What was that?
Blood quantum.
What?
Blood quantum.
Blood quantum.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of other screeners that are in as well. So we'll throw them on the list. We'll pick which ones. I'm not sure yet. And other than that, next week we're doing for the group chat, we're doing, is it Umbrella Academy Season 2?
Umbrella Academy Season 2. Yeah.
Yep. So make sure to tune in for that, because it is fucking good. And other than that, for myself, the Giz, and every Buzz and Carter, we'll catch you all next week. We're going to be talking about some other sort of mad horror bollocks. GoreCast out.